right back and relax. We'll be back in just a moment. Good evening and welcome to tonight's presentation of Noche La NBA, an annual tradition in the NBA celebrating diversity and culture, and always a pleasure to bring it to you. Kevin Harlan here along with Steve Smith, Greg Anthony, David Aldridge on our sideline. It's our pleasure to welcome in the sports guy, Bill Simmons, to our broadcast for a second straight year. It's an honor to have you here courtside with us.
I'm just excited that I got brought back. I felt like I was on Brook Lopez on the one-year contract last year, and then now you've invited me back.
But you've
another one-year contract.
You've reinvented yourself, though.
Yeah,
you can hit outside comments.
I tried to expand my range, but so we'll see. We'll take it year by year.
We can't wait to hear it. And a look at the starters for the Pistons. Dumars is out there with Thomas. Then there's Edwards. Then it's Lambeer. And it's Rodman in at the 3 slot. At one point, seems like ISO basketball was falling out of favor, Bill, but the Rockets have made a cornerstone of their success, that very thing.
True. For the regular season. And
right,
for the
and then it
early
changes,
rounds.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I do wonder if it's like the run and shoot with football, where it's this...
You don't trust it, maybe? You don't trust it?
Yeah, it's for the regular season. You're playing a team once. They don't have time to scout it for a bunch of weeks, but... when you get to the playoffs and you're playing the same team 7 times.
Scouting gets better.
Yeah, and players, you just played it 2 nights ago. You did play it against the same offense. You pick up little tricks. And I really wonder if you can win 4 straight rounds doing it.
The Rockets perpetually knocking on the door. At what point, though, Bill, do you think their window will close?
I think that point happened in May of 2019. I think they had 2 years to win the title where everything was lined up for them. 2018, they're up 3-2 against the Warriors. The Warriors are tired. They seem like they're fading. They can't close. I think the key for them is the difference between being a regular season team and a playoff team. They're a great regular season team. But the playoffs every year become more and more complicated, smarter, more you got to come up with a plan C, a plan D, a plan E as the series goes along. And their plan A is kind of what they ride with. They get tight, the crowd gets tight, things slow down. What's your plan B? And they haven't been able to figure that out.
Maxwell against Rodman. Here's Smith. You've been producing documentaries going deeper into athlete stories, which I know you love, because I think you're curious more than anything else.
Yeah.
So what drew you to that process?
Initially, it was we dove into these stories. We thought that was the inefficiency of, instead of these big, broad type of documentaries, concentrate on events and players and moments and things like that. And I think as you get into that and you start doing it, it just becomes intoxicating. And the cool thing about it is no story should be told the same way you would tell somebody else's story. You just don't know. You get to figure it out. Like we had Steve Nash his last Lakers season. He wanted to do a documentary about it. And then we spitballed it, and we decided it was actually a better idea to do an in-the-moment digital series about it that you could experience in real time with the thing. And it was the right idea, and that was really good. I think trying to figure out what story clicks the best with an athlete, how to tell whatever story they have correctly is the coolest part.
Just the first good move in a game of chess between these two coaches.
Strategy is going to be a big part of the outcome tonight. We'll see which team dictates the style of play.
Now here's Rodman. Kicks it to Lambeer. Passes it to Thomas. 6 on the shot clock. It's stolen by Olajuwon. Now here is Smith. And just under 2.5 minutes elapsed here in the first. A 15-footer, and Olajuwon with the basket on the assist by Johnson. Bill, do you ever think we're going to eliminate conferences in the NBA playoff seeding?
I think that they would have done a 16-seed, no-conference playoff format years ago. I think they're really worried about the travel, though. And they've looked at it, and they've really studied it, and they've looked at the effects of, let's say Boston plays Portland in round 1. and you're flying 3,100 miles or 3,200 miles in 3 time zones and all that stuff, and it's a 2-2-1-1-1 series, what is the effect on the team if it goes 7? I think they're really afraid of it. I wish they did it. I don't like the conferences. I don't really understand them. And over the course of NBA history, they've been really confused by the conferences. I wrote about this in the book of basketball, where we had years where San Antonio was playing in the East for a while, and Baltimore was in the West, which, go look at a map. Baltimore being in the West is ridiculous. Baltimore was in the West and Philly was in the East, and they're like 50 miles away from each other.
Yeah, made no sense.
So they've never really 100% figured out the conferences, and I just think the 1 through 16 makes more sense.
It would sure be better basketball.
It would be better.
Yeah. Thorpe. And another shot. And they had their chances. 2 offensive rebounds, but they still come up empty. It's stolen. Now Smith. Over Thomas. And it's Smith missing. Enzo Thomas will bring it up for Detroit. They won their last game against the Rockets in Houston.
Well, last time out, they got the win in large part because of the play of their bench, and they provided a lot of the scoring punch.
It's not unusual these days. Teams are more than willing to go deep into that bench to find answers for certain matchups.
And Dumars gets it to go.
Terrible shot selection, but you got to appreciate his confidence.
Bill, if you were just hired as a GM, which franchise would you model your approach after?
I really like what the Clippers did the last couple of years when they realized they didn't have quite enough to win the title. And instead of just being beholden to being darn close but not quite, they actually blew it up and tried to figure out how to create cap space, find some young players.
And still stay competitive.
Build
So
a nucleus.
they kept the momentum of their franchise.
Yeah, they stumbled into a situation where they had a lot of flexibility no matter what. I think the Celtics before them did the same thing in the mid-2000s. They're just trying to find assets and figure it out on the fly. That's the approach I would use. I would never fully commit one way or the other to anything. The goal is to try to accumulate assets and figure out what you have. And I think the smartest teams do that.
Bill, you study pop culture. The 2K Esports League is a phenomenon right now, which is sweeping the country. Do you think that's going to alter the perception of gaming in any way?
Yeah, I would say it has one of the best chances of any esports league to succeed because people just love basketball. And you can feel it there in the offseason. The shift in basketball content and the fact that it's now a 12-month-a-year sport for us. And now it goes from the playoffs to the draft to where people going in free agency. And then that plays out for a month, and then something else will happen. All of a sudden it's August.
Summer leagues are
summer
coming
leagues
up.
happening, and then all of a sudden the season's close, and then you just kind of recycle, and it's a 12-month-a-year sport.
Yeah, right. Here's Smith following the 3 by Detroit. Here's Maxwell. No points in the game yet for him. The shot's good.
Yeah, another nice bucket down low. They've really been able to work the ball into the post effectively here so far.
Bill, I wanted to go back to what you were talking about with the 2K League, and you mentioned how basketball has grown into essentially a 12-month-a-year sport.
For me, a 2K Esports League just makes sense. It fits into that. I think people love the players. I think they care about these athletes, in basketball, so much more in the other sports. And for me, it's really gratifying because I've loved basketball my whole life. And for a while there, when I grew up as a kid, they were tape delaying the finals, and it was like the second-tier league. And now to say,
That's why you never quit battling on the offensive glass.
And that's a nice reward for his effort. The flush, perfect.
Working hard, beating everyone to the ball. He does this night in and night out.
The Rockets shooting their first free throw of the night here.
And last season, as a team, they knocked down 79% of their free throws, so those are numbers you'll be happy with.
Bill, you host your own podcast. I've listened to it. I subscribe to it.
Thank you.
I love it. What do you make of so many NBA players now doing the same thing?
and we have a couple of them. At the Ringer, we have J.J. Redick, and we have Vince Carter and Ken Bazemore. The ones that are good at it take it seriously. It can't be one of those things where, a player says, you know what, I want a podcast, and then it just magically happens. Like, you got to work on it. You have to use your connections and book your guests, and you have to be candid on the podcast. You can't just show up and just babble. And the guys that have been successful at it are people that could probably have a media career for a living. Like JJ is clearly going to go into media after he retires. Richard Jefferson had a great podcast. He's gone into media. He's really good. Yes. So I think you need a little more talent at it than people realize. And you need the consistency of it. You can't say, I'm starting a podcast and then not do it for 2 months. Like, you have to really stick to it.
They've been beating them to a lot of those loose balls and rebounds here to start.
Here's Thomas. The pass to Aguirre. Outside Thomas. Clock at 6. Ball's knocked loose. It's stolen by Smith. Here's Olajuwon, and then Olajuwon with the dunk.
Oh, rising and punching it on the young fella. You know he loves having that much of a height advantage. Best chance to get yourself on the highlight reel.
Pistons trail by 8. They need a good offensive possession.
Yeah, they've gone a long time without a bucket.
And Bill, over a quarter of today's NBA players were born in a country other than the United States. The talent is that broad all over the globe.
And Giannis was born on another planet. Mm-hmm. We don't know what planet
he is
was.
Otherworldly.
It wasn't Earth. I think he just got dropped from some satellite.
Oh.
Yeah, this all starts with.
I love it too, don't you? I love the fact we've got players from Latvia and Greece and all over playing.
What's cool about it is they all kind of have distinct identities and quirks, and one of the things that makes somebody like Doncic so much fun to watch is he's not like anybody else. Like, he's close to James Harden, but he's also that step back three that he was taking that he's been making his whole life. Other than Harden, nobody was even really shooting it that way, And I think there's an unselfishness with the European guys that is really useful for the way the American style.
100% agree.
They really, guys move without the ball. Mm-hmm. It's give and go, and it's not just like clear out, I'm up.
Yeah. Pass to Aguirre. Over Johnson. Aguirre, no good. Rockets leading by 8. Johnson in the corner. From downtown, they grab their own miss. Olajuwon fouled on the shot and picks up 2 points. So one free throw coming up.
Yeah, second chance points, a huge issue right now. They're getting steamrolled inside.
The Rockets have gone 1 for 1, making their previous attempt at the line. Time called here. The Pistons decide to talk it over.
And the lack of rim protection, top of the list.
And it boils down to the question, toughness. One team showing it, the other allowing itself to be bullied.
And so it's Johnson who brings the ball up for Detroit. They trail by 11. Pass to Aguirre. Over Johnson. Aguirre, no good. And here's Houston. They're on a 16-7 run. And there's the basket. Whistle blows and a chance for a three-point play. Going to the line for 1.
And they've done the job on the offensive glass.
Houston shooting their 3rd free throw shot of the game. For the Houston Rockets, they come into tonight following a loss to the Lakers in Los Angeles. Here's Johnson. That one's off, still out of sync. Houston leading by 14. Passes to Maxwell. It's good with the assist that time from Johnson. Johnson's got his 3rd assist on the night. Pistons trail by 17. Johnson left side. Here's Sally. And he can't stop the run as he misses.
There's the value of great rim protection without fouling, forcing the miss. The question is, do you leave him in? Obviously, you don't want him to pick up a 3rd foul this early.
The Rockets have made 3 free throws so far. Haven't missed any. He hits the 2nd from the line. And for the Pistons, they're shooting alarming 21% to get things going here. It's Dumars on the wing. To stop the run, and he could not get that one to go. Out of contact, and he'll go to the line for 2. For Detroit, they have made 4 free throws from the line and missed 2.
And a season ago, they hit about 75% of their free throws.
And so he's able to get 1 of 2.
And that one gives them a +5 rebound advantage, Kevin.
Johnson, the pass to Floyd. Hits the three-point bomb. Floyd's got 7.
Already, they've piled up 8 second chance points.
Pistons trail by 20. Johnson outside over Smith. Detroit, no good that time either. Rockets leading by 20. Johnson surveying the floor. We've got 1:48 left to play in the first. The pass to Olajuwon, just 5 to shoot. Sinks it from just inside the baseline. 16 points for him.
Riding the hot hand, and why not? If something's working, keep going to it.
Johnson dishes to Dumars. Aguirre against Johnson. Aguirre passes to Sally. Johnson outside. Off the mark there with the three-point shot.
And this is what you like about his perimeter D. Never gave up and challenged the deep.
You see some guys, they just mail it in. They don't go out and contest it. Not him. He's going to compete through the entire play.
And they have owned the paint so far, and the score reflects it.
I'll tell you, this was their strategy coming in. They obviously identified a weakness there inside.
Sally kicks to Johnson. Will it go? And he gets the friendly spin, and that one drops. Well, for Detroit, their last game a loss to the 76ers. To the paint, here's Floyd. It's good, the assist that time from Smith.
They're consistently finding ways to get the ball inside and taking full advantage.
Johnson outside. Pass to Aguirre. Over Johnson. Aguirre, no good.
You could tell he assumed he'd be able to beat the defensive coverage, even though it was all over.
Maxwell against Dumars. He's made 1 and missed 1 so far in the game. And he knocks down the first one. And so he hits both. Here's Floyd. And the last shot before the buzzer is off. And so it's Houston holding a 22-point lead as the quarter wraps up. They have made it very tough to get a shot off against them. Their defense has been stifling. And we've got more NBA action on 2K Sports coming your way after this break.